There are over 550 million firearms in worldwide circulation. That's one firearm for every 12 people on the planet. The only question is, how do we arm the other 11? What is up, you sexy YouTube mother lovers? We are back for another episode of Gun Builder Reacts. Hi, if you don't know who I am, I'm Brandon Herrera, and I'm a gun builder. I build guns. Alright, let's be fair. I'm now primarily a YouTuber who, still builds guns. We actually just did a video earlier on this week. If you want to see one of the weird builds that we put out, we do a lot of AK stuff, but I've got experience with a bunch of different firearms and whatnot. I dabble. But today I'm going to be using a little bit of that insight to talk about one of my favorite movies, 2005 Lord of War with Nicolas Cage. Hands down, a must-watch if you were a gun guy. I know there's probably like 20% of you watching this who have not seen it. It is on Amazon Prime. I'm not going to spoil anything big in this video. It's a phenomenal movie. Definitely go watch it. The fictional Yuri Orlov of this movie is the guy that all gun dealers want to grow up and be one day. Okay, not all of it, but it's a cool movie. This movie in particular is cool to AK guys because this talks a lot about the breakdown of the Soviet Union, the just arms flooding into the open market, a lot of AK porn. It's fantastic. I remember watching this movie when I was I'm going to stop talking about it. We'll get right into the movie. But real quick, I want to give a shout out to the guys who made this video possible. That's right, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is what would happen if you crossed a blockbuster movie with a AAA title game and squeezed it all into your mobile phone. I'm sure you guys have seen Raid ads all over the place by now, but we're going to talk about some stuff that really makes Raid stand out. The production quality and the incredible level of detail. Raid has over 450 unique champions, all of them fully animated with the help of a motion capture studio. That's pretty neat. What I personally like about the game is that it's easy entertainment while I'm purposely ignoring your comments about the AK-50. Raid is always releasing new updates, and their biggest update ever is in development right now, the Doom Tower. It's 120 floors of super hard levels and even harder bosses. The Frost Spider, the Magma Dragon, the Tomb Crab, and they all look badass. Go to the video description, click on the special links, and if you're a new player, you'll get 100,000 silver plus a free champion, Lightsworn. And all of this will be waiting for you here. So what are you waiting for? Go down to the description, check out Raid Shadow Legends. There's links in the description and in the pinned comment, and we appreciate their support. It makes videos like this possible. And I like that. And you guys like that. So check them out. All right, and with that out of the way, let's get down to the movie. All right, so here Yuri is describing the first time he ever sold a gun. Which reminds me of my old days of trading on Arms List.
The first time you sell a gun is a lot like the first time you have sex. You have absolutely no idea what you're doing, but it is exciting, and one way or another, it's over way too fast.
100% correct. And also, if I could add another qualifier there, if the person that you're doing this activity with is not over 18, you're probably gonna go to jail. Unless you were on Epstein's flight log, in which case you're probably okay. All right, so we're moving forward a little bit. I just had to get that one-liner in. They're looking to move up in the world and join the international arms trade. So where do they go? Ah, yes. This is what I'm pretty sure everybody imagines SHOT Show is actually like. I wish it was, because it's not, but...
Will I interest you in the shoulder-fired SA-7 surface-to-air missile? It's the older Chinese model, not so effective against modern military aircraft, but deadly.
Excuse me, sir, would you be interested in these MiG fighter jets? They're quite reliable. Yeah, it's not quite how that stuff goes, but I wish it was. Although I wasn't there in the 80s, so it could have been how things were. In reality, a lot of the stuff, if it's done at trade shows, it's done in back rooms, things like that. There's not just callers. Excuse me, sir, would you like 10,000 RPGs? How about you, sir? Because let's be honest here, there's a very select amount of people in the world that are interested in buying and selling 10,000 RPGs. And you probably, if you have 10,000 RPGs, you're on a first name basis with these people. And you may or may not be on a no-fly list. Alright, so now they've officially moved international, and we are here in pre-explosion Beirut, Lebanon.
When the United States leaves a war zone, they generally don't take their munitions. It costs more to bring it back than to buy new stock.
So, we sell by the kilo.
The second-hand weapons, but they're still okay.
First off, that is not your typical arms demonstration at all. Actually, this was the perfect place to pause because both are looking at him like, why the fuck did you just do that? Go somewhere else, 60 seconds to Mars. Believe it or not, this part is definitely 100% true, and it's still true. I have friends who are over in Lebanon who have talked about going to pick up large piles of weapons out of warehouses where they actually sell it by the kilo. You just load up whatever shit you want there on the scale, they weigh it out, and then they charge you accordingly, which is fucking absurd. You're talking about mortars, dishkas, AKs, whatever the hell. What's actually funny is, depending on who you know, you actually know who I'm talking about. There's a select few of you who are gonna know who I'm talking about, so I won't give names. Also, it's funny that they specifically mentioned Americans don't bring their arms back with them, because you have a lot of, M16s and things like that here on the pile, but there's a lot of AKs back there, a couple FALs and things like that. It's like, I don't think we used a whole lot of those. But what a dream. Oh my god, I could sleep on those piles of guns. So now we get a nice little montage of his successes as an arms dealer. And this is the longest lasting magazine, 30-round magazine I've ever seen.
Top 10 war zone.
Nice Type 56S there, by the way, Chinese underfolder. Real quick, I'm just going to go ahead and pause it. I'm going to talk. AK nerd moment. If you want to know how you can tell it's a Chinese specific gun, in this case a Chinese underfolder, look at the rivet pattern. If you look at the rivet pattern there on the front trunnion, it's low, which is magwell rivet, high, and then back low. Chinese are the only ones that do that. I think some Albanians do that as well. But as far as standard AKMs, Chinese are the only ones. Another telltale sign, sometimes is the vented gas tubes right there. You can see the little 3 holes, but definitely a telltale is that hooded front sight. It's got a bunch of RPK shit here. This is, you can see a front sight block, and it has open cut top. Pretty much all the AKs that I have here are going to be like this. This is pretty standard. The one here on the screen has a hooded, we call it a hooded sight, where it is a complete circle all the way around. Like I said, rule of thumb, not 100%, but those two things together usually telltale Chinese. Congratulations, you're learning things that are not remotely useful. All right, so let's keep seeing this endless fucking magazine here. What was the round count on that? I don't know, 60, something like that. It was more than 30 fucking rounds. All right, so a little bit of a mild spoiler. Yuri's brother has developed a little bit of an issue with Colombian marching powder. Pretty sure this is actually how Jared Leto prepared to be the worst Joker in Suicide Squad possible.
The fuck is that?
Ukraine. I was young, but I remember.
Yeah, I'll say it. This whole scene could have been directly off of the Hunter Biden hard drive. Let's go ahead and fast forward some more. We're getting to the most iconic scene of this movie, for sure.
Those 45 years of mutual hatred between the East and the West had generated the highest weapons buildup in history. The Soviets had guns.
Look at all those AKs. Now here's the only problem with that. They're not AKs. So here's a little bit of total gun nerd shit that probably ruined this part of the movie for me. I can't see it the same anymore. Apparently, it's pretty hard to get a hold of a few thousand AKs. I mean, come on, amateurs. Either way, they had an issue getting a hold of that many AKs, or they thought nobody would notice. But a lot of the AKs on those racks, they're not AKs. They're instead, drumroll please, VZ-58s. The AK is little Czech brother. Just kidding. If you ask anybody who's Czech, they say that they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. If you ask anybody else, they might know they exist. One thing's for sure, thems ain't Russian AKs in this bit. Now, why the fuck it was easier to get a hold of 2,000 VZ-58s instead of a bunch of AKs, I'll never know. But it's what they used.
The end of the Cold War was the beginning of the hottest time in arms dealing.
Now, I'm told that they used a lot of real Russian equipment for this. Like these tanks, APCs, everything, these were actually real. They lined these up for this movie. Apparently they had to line up so much Soviet armor for this movie, they had to call the fucking UN to tell them that they were shooting a film. Apparently because sat maps or whatever, it looked like they were actually mobilizing a tank battalion. Very reminiscent of that one story from the OG Red Dawn Gun Builder Reacts we did.
Of all the weapons in the vast Soviet arsenal, Nothing was more profitable than Automat Kalashnikova, model of 1947, more commonly known as the AK-47 or Kalashnikov.
Listen up, kids. This is
It's the
gospel.
world's most popular assault rifle, a weapon all fighters love. An elegantly simple 9-pound amalgamation of forged steel and plywood. It doesn't break, jam, or overheat. It will shoot whether it's covered in mud or filled with sand. It's so easy, even a child can use it.
And they do. All right, I'm not going to listen to this whole scene because I totally could, and I've seen it 100 times. I could watch it 100 more times. Go watch this damn movie. It's good. Any movie that has a 2-minute monologue about why the AK-47 is the best thing since sliced bread gets an A+ in my book. But here's the funny part. Is right after this big just love-making scene to the AK-47, you get this shot. The first thing we see after we're done with this scene is not a Russian AK. We actually get this really nice close-up. If you look, you have... So what did we learn, class? What did we learn earlier? Hooded front sight, Chinese, vented gas tube. Another giveaway, not always good to go by because it can also be Yugoslavian or a host of other things. But look at that trunnion. It doesn't have that little cutaway. Most AK trunnions will have this little recess there where the barrel pin goes through. That one does not. Could also be Yugoslavian, but together with that vented gas tube, the hooded front sight, you're looking at Chinese all day long, baby. Now, you may think I'm nitpicking. You'd be correct. There are so many cool moments in this movie, like the whole just little gun stuff. Just bring me the gun of Rambo with the M60 and everything. It's just really cool stuff. I don't know how much further I can go without actually just starting to spoil plot points and things like that. And the poll that we did on the channel, a lot of you guys said you hadn't even seen this movie, which blew my mind. So if you haven't, for the love of God, go to Amazon Prime. It's like $3 to rent this thing. Just watch it. It's a fucking phenomenal movie. But a lot of the gun stuff is, in the early to mid part of the movie. There's not a whole lot after that, after this point that I could talk about that I wouldn't just be nitpicking, like the crazy prop thrown together AKs. They did some a little bit later. Like there was one that looked like a milled Galil that had like an AKM front end forced onto it with some weird like East German blank firing adapters. There's some weird stuff that they did for the props in this movie. I could talk about that all day, but I think that just about wraps up this movie. If there are other movies you want to see me break down like this, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys want to see. If you're looking for merch to support the channel, I'm not wearing an AK Guy shirt today. I'm rocking our friends over at JMac Customs. I got the hat though. You can check that out down at Bunker Branding. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Really helps us out. And other than that, guys, I just appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. And as always, I will see you sexy YouTube mother lovers in the next video. Thanks.
Fuel is my obsession to make the perfect weapon, like Rasputin's rise to the top.